Good afternoon. Link here. Had one comment as of yet on my first posted little blurb, my introductory video. Um, and it was suggested to me that I tell a story. I enjoy telling a good story. I enjoy telling a bad story sometimes. Um, it's all in the eye of the beholder, I suppose. Um, Let me see, what story to tell? Uh, I'm 40 years old. I believe I mentioned that in the last video. Um, the first half of my life, basically, up to this point, first 20 years. I was raised by a family, was not my natural family. It was an adoptive family. My last name, my legal last name now is the name that I got from them. Uh, really don't have anything to do with them anymore. That might be getting a little bit ahead of myself, but like I said, first 20 years of my life, I lived with an adoptive family. Never really got along with them too well. I mean, there were moments, there was some love there, but I always felt out of place and felt like I couldn't really be myself. Um, there was some physical, um, emotional, no sexual abuse, but some of the other things, at least to my perception. No charges have ever been made, so you know, feel like I should throw the word alleged in there somewhere. But hey, take that for what it's worth. That's all from my perspective. Pardon the coughing. I got a bit of a cough right now. Uh, anyway, first 20 so years. Went to Purdue University right out of high school. Went there 2 years. For the first year to one of the satellite campuses, the second year to the main campus in West Lafayette, Indiana. Go Boilermakers. I still like to honor my old alma mater. Changed majors twice, didn't get a degree then. Long story, that's a story for another day. Anyway, while I was there, had a little falling out with my adoptive family, and ended up, I moved to California. Um, Lived out in a nice town called Santa Cruz for 2 years. Anybody's ever seen the original Lost Boys? It was filmed in Santa Cruz. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, filmed in Santa Cruz. A few other movies filmed out there. I don't know if the second Lost Boys was filmed there or not. It literally wasn't good enough to make me want to look and check. But at any rate, while I was out there, uh, started looking around for my birth mother. And I remember one day I was dating this girl named Nicole. I got a hold of a phone number which was for my adoptive grandmother. Scratch that, for my maternal natural grandmother. And so I was sitting at my place by myself, and I'd call that number, then I'd call my girlfriend, then I'd call that number. After a while, I lost track, and I hit redial, and somebody picks up. I didn't recognize the voice. I'm like, hello? They're like, who is this? I go, my name's John Lincoln Land. Um, Immediately, the other end, it was an old woman. She started crying and carrying on, and it was my grandmother. Surprised to hear my voice. So, talked to her for a while. Um, Went back to. Okay, I moved back to Indiana again, but I'm getting ahead of myself again. Called back later on, and a couple weeks later, and was talking to her again. She's like, "Well, do you want the phone number of your mom?" We told her that you called, and she was asked about you. You want her number? And I'm like, "Yeah, hello, of course." So I called her, and she'd had my number, but she was afraid to call because she thought I might be mad at her for giving me up. I'm like, "No, no, I'm just an airhead, okay? Okay, mom, I'm sorry. I meant to tell him, it's like, hey, go ahead, give her my number, have her call me. It, I'm totally okay with that, but you know, Space Cadet here, uh, forgot to say anything. Yeah. So anyway, talked to her the next week, um, and like I said a couple minutes ago, I moved back to Indiana because that's where my birth mother was, and stayed with her a while. Then moved out, got my own apartment in the neighborhood. My mom got me a job at this place she was working. Stayed there for 2 years, and then I moved down to Mississippi to stay with my grandmother down there. Met some aunts, uncles, cousins, second cousins, on down the line. I stayed down there for almost 10 years before I eventually joined the Army. Now, one thing I haven't said yet is my birth father. Hmm. So, I'm going to leave that as a little teaser for another day. Um, Thanks for listening. Y'all have a good time. And Molly, am I looking at the camera? I don't know. Molly, this one was for you, buddy. Thanks for the suggestion. Have another story about how and if, whatever, my birth father. And that's it for now. Peace.